What is going on, guys, and how is everybody doing? So it is late goose season here in Missouri. It's January 20s. The field is muddy as heck, as you can see, but I packed in, I don't know, 18 full bodies and a couple dozen silhouettes and a dozen shells, what I could fit on my sled, plus my layout blind and stuff. Here's my setup here. Had a pretty good little shoot this morning, had some bad luck. I got some shooting in, I got some killing in, as you can see there. But I'm pretty excited to show you this footage here. I plan on doing a clean and cook video out of this, so if you want to learn how to clean a goose and cook, stick around till the very end and we'll teach you how to do that. Here we go. Well, they don't want to be here. How does that even happen? So cool. Duck season is unfortunately over in Missouri, but I'll take a green head in the decoys any time of the day. Birds up. Oh yeah. Bird down. Finally got a bird down. Finally got a bird down. That has been a tough morning. Whew, that was exciting. Oh, I've worked hard for that bird this morning. My shooting hasn't been the best, but these birds just aren't wanting to get in close, guys. But I'm so incredibly happy that I just made that happen. Like, you have no idea how special that moment was for me. I missed a group earlier, as you saw. I've just been bumming on that hard. I've had so many birds over me this morning that start to commit and then change their mind last second. I've had birds in range that I didn't take a shot on because I thought they'd land, and they kept on going. So it has been a tough morning. But man, we just had that, was it 5 or 6 come in? Don't know if they would have touched down or not, but the way they've been acting this morning, I wasn't about to find out. I had to take that shot. Let's go take a look at our bird. There he is, guys. Beautiful bird. I worked my butt off for him this morning. It's my first Canada Goose of the season, and I will gladly take it. Sometimes it comes together. Alright guys, so as promised, here's the clean portion of this video. I'm going to kind of walk you through one of the ways that I do it. There's plenty of ways to do this, but this method's called breasting them out. You can also pluck them, which is much messier. So when I breast a goose, I make a little slit in the skin there. I'm going to try and do my best to show you guys this as I go. So I made a little slit in the skin there. Then you can kind of get your fingers under there. And if you're careful, you won't get feathers all over the place. I'm doing this in my kitchen for the sake of lighting for this video, but typically I do this outside. But if you do it inside like I'm doing, just put a piece of sheet plastic down like I did. I ripped a trash bag in half, and it works just fine. As you'll see here, I'm just getting my thumbs under the skin, and I'm kind of rolling it back. Just rolling that skin back. And just see that skin layer there? It just peels right off that breast meat. You can use your fingertips and your thumbs and just roll that back off of that breast meat. Oh, look at there. There's one of my pellets. For whatever reason, I could not get these birds in real close this morning. Some days they just want to be in the decoys and you can't keep them out, and days like today you got to take a 30-yard shot if you get one. Alright, so now that I got those feathers peeled back like that, you guys can see how those two there's two sides of the breast meat here, and it's nice and exposed now. So now I'm going to take this fillet knife, and almost just like filleting out a fish, I'm just going to go along this breastbone here. And you stay right here. You guys can see that bone there under the meat. You just stay right against that bone plate, breastplate. Then once you get to the Y looking bone up here, right here, that runs kind of like this and this, you angle your knife and you go up alongside it. And then you just work your way up the breastplate. Get you an angle here where you can see these bones right here. This all had meat on it, and I'm just filleting it right out of there. Obviously, if you pluck the bird, you're gonna have a lot more to work with. A lot more meat and stuff like that, and it's my preferred method. It just takes so long, and I got stuff I got to do this afternoon, so I just don't have time to sit out on the porch and pluck a bird today. But it is good to throw a plucked goose in the smoker if you have the time for it. Get some of those feathers off of there. Alright, so there's half of the goose breast, and that's a very sizable chunk of meat. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for you guys yet, cooking wise. I'm thinking maybe fajitas, but that's just a solid chunk of dark red meat. Almost, it tastes almost like roast beef in my opinion if you put it in the crock pot or if you cook it medium rare. So, got a bowl here. We're gonna slap that in there. Let's get this other half out. A lot of people say that goose meat is not good to eat. That's just simply not true. It's actually very, very good to eat, and people who say that have probably either never eaten it or they just don't know how to cook. 2 breast pieces. Alright, something I like to do that a lot of people don't is I like to get the legs and thighs out of these birds. There's so much, in my opinion, the legs and thigh meat on these birds taste better than the breast meat. So what I'm going to do is start by breaking the ankle bone here. You just use your hands. It's not real hard to break. So get that leg bone broke right there. And that just cuts right out of there like that. Get rid of that foot, put it in your trash bag. clean up some of those feathers. We'll go ahead and do this other leg bone. That way when you go to skin the leg and thigh, there's not a big foot in your way. Okay, so now that I got the legs out of the way, it's kind of like peeling the skin off the breast. I'm just going to peel this leg feathers and skin down the leg. See how I'm kind of undressing that? And then you got to get it over the tip there, like that. Just keep peeling that skin back off of that leg. Peel it all the way back up there to the thigh, all the way to the goose's back. So many people just take the breast and throw all the rest of this delicious meat in the garbage, which is kind of sad because it's some good stuff. And geese, Canada geese especially, have giant legs and thighs. Alright, now that I got that pulled back off the leg, there's a ball joint, just like people have, or any kind of animal for that matter. Right there, I just kind of bend that and pull that ball joint out, and then all that's left is the meat that attaches the leg bone to the rest of the goose body. Get that out of there, get some of these feathers cleaned up off there like the breast. Put it in your trash bag. There's a little bit of fat on these too that I like to clean up when I get them on a cutting board or something. And this is a pretty small goose. I'm not sure if this is a greater or lesser or not. Could just be a juvenile greater, but compared to some of the greater Canada geese I've shot, this is honestly only about half the size. So, but still, even though it's a small goose, there's a sizable amount of meat on the leg and thigh there. So let's get this other one out of here. So there's what you get out of I would call this a medium-sized Canada goose. 2 nice pieces of breast meat and 2 legs and thighs. What I'm gonna do, trim a little bit of that fat off of these. There's not a whole lot on this one, but the bit that's there, I'm gonna get that off there. I probably imagine contributes to the gaminess of the flavor, which if done right, there's not a whole lot on a goose, but despite common stereotype, that's just not accurate. Alright, so I got that trimmed up. Now what I'm gonna do, just take this goose breast, just cut it in half, flat ways like that. Now I got 2 halves. Now I'm gonna make my fajita strips. So I'm just gonna slice that meat into strips. Alright, both of those halves are cut up. We trim the fat off right there. So now in the bowl, I'm going to soak these. I got the 2 breast halves that are cut into strips, sorry. And then I got the 2 legs and thighs. I'm just going to soak those for a few hours before dinner. I think when you cut these up and then soak them, you get more of that blood out of there. And I think on wild game, what contributes to some of that flavor, obviously, is that blood. So I like to soak these, and here in a couple hours this water will be real red, and you just dump that off, and that's just all that blood that you're getting rid of. So stick with us here. I'm going to soak these, and then we're going to make fajitas. Alright guys, so as you can see here, I gave this goose meat some time to soak, and you can see how much of that blood came out of here. I told you earlier it was just going to be a couple hours, but this is actually the next day, so I let it soak overnight, and looks like it did some good there. I got a big onion here and a couple of red bell peppers. I'm going to go ahead and get those prepped up for this. I think everyone probably knows how to slice that stuff, so I'll spare you that, but yeah, I'm going to get this stuff cut up, and I'll be right back. That stuff's ready to go. What I'm going to do now is I got some olive oil in my skillet over here, getting hot. And here I have some rendered pork fat. My sister actually makes this with some of the hogs that she slaughters. And I'm going to add a little bit of this into that just for some extra flavor. That adds a very good flavor to this dish. I'm going to take this fajita goose breast meat, just put it in the oil there. Turn the heat up a little bit, and then what you want to do before you put the veggies in with it is just cook some of this moisture off of it and get this meat browned up. This is to a point where I feel good about starting to add in some of the onions and peppers here, so almost need a bigger pan for this, but here's what it is. I'm just going to let this cook. I got it on pretty high heat right now because that's a pretty large amount of veggies that need to cook down. If you like, you can add like jalapenos and tomatoes and stuff into this too. Alright, so while that's cooking down, I'm going to get just a little bit more of this rendered pork fat here. That's going in a skillet number 2 for those legs and thighs. We're going to let that melt down real good and add those legs and thighs in. Well, that's melting down. I'm going to go ahead and take a couple packages of taco seasoning and 2. And I just got some regular tap water here. I'm going to add that in there. Mix all that up together, and while that simmers, some of that water I just put in there will help cook the veggies and meat, and that water will evaporate off to where it's not so wet in there. Alright, so on these 2 goose legs and thighs, I actually took a napkin and I patted some of that moisture off of them so that there's not such a violent reaction with the water in the grease there. So I'm just going to drop those in there. You don't want a real high heat or else you'll splatter all over the place. But yeah, we're just going to let those brown on each side real good. Fajitas are looking and smelling amazing. They're almost to a point where I'm going to turn the heat off on them. It's kind of up to you how much liquid you want left in there. You're supposed to add liquid to that taco seasoning and it kind of turns into a paste. I like mine a little more on the runny side. That's just my personal preference. But and same goes for the veggies. However crunchy you want your veggies to be. I like my veggies a little softer, so I let it cook a little longer. But if you guys like your veggies a little more crunchy, don't cook them as long and don't add as much water that has to evaporate off. Alright, these quarters are done. Last thing I'm going to do to these, I always put the seasoning on last when I'm cooking stuff like this, and oil in a skillet, because I feel like if you put the seasoning on too soon, it burns to the skillet and you're going to smoke up the house real bad. And I will show you what I do to finish these up. So, got the fajita stuff here. What I have here is just some plain Greek yogurt that I use to supplement sour cream. It's a little healthier, and I usually go for the healthier option, but in my opinion it tastes better than sour cream. But plain Greek yogurt, a little bit of Mexican cheese, and some pickled jalapenos. Pretty basic setup. So I'm going to get a scoop of that there. Pickled jalapenos. Different game doing this with one hand. But I just wanted to take a minute and show you guys how amazing Canada Goose, or snow goose, or specklebelly goose for that matter, can be. Some of my favorite wild game that we have the option to eat here in Missouri, if you can get on some of them. I've had a tough year this year, but they're super good to eat, and so many ways to cook them. I treat them just like a slab of beef. I mean, crock pot, smoker, fajitas, use your imagination. They are an excellent substitute for beef, and they get a bad reputation, which is just unjustified in my opinion. But don't be afraid to eat them. They're good. And I don't know if you guys want to see a video on my setup and just the basics you need to know for how to hunt for these birds. Comment below that you want me to make a video like that, and I will do that for you. It's pretty easy to get started. You don't need a whole lot of money and stuff like that. And I can show you ways to get started that you can do pretty quickly and for minimal expense. So, as always guys, thanks for watching.